Hey guys, Levy Freeman here, and today we're playing some more HOI4 Kaiserreich mod, and today we're going to be playing as Japan. And this is kind of like the last major power in the series that I was trying to do here. We're going to play, all the majors that are on the title screen within, I guess this is like late patch 12 and early patch 13. It's like pretty close together, all the majors. And so like I said before, if you saw my Ottoman video, I kind of said like Japan's like kind of a country I have a hard time getting into with their campaign, and I also I've played Japan like once, right? Like I did a one Japan run, like in that game we had done the war with Russia for Transmor doing their Panic in Siberia event, and we pushed the Russians back. We eventually capitulated them, and like Transmor had everything up to the Urals. I got West Russia, and then I didn't get an event to give it to Transmor. It's like I guess it was bugged or didn't show up or whatever, and I rage quit that campaign. Now it's like the only time I ever had like a serious Japan game that actually got off the rails and started. So I don't really have very much experience on this country, so keep that in mind. Just slow our army out a bit here. So I'm not really too sure how this campaign plays out. Although I have heard that it's a little bit RNG and whether or not you can intervene in China or whatnot, and of course the manual justification is going to hurt them with the early game aggression. So I'm not sure what happens. So we're just going to kind of play this one by the seat of our pants here. But otherwise, like as far as I'm aware, Japan like joined the Entente in World War I or whatnot, and kind of when they fell apart, they just kind of went off and did their own thing, and they're kind of like an independent faction. And their whole deal is they want to kick out the colonial powers in Asia and become like the East Asian hegemon, right? Either through military dominance or economic dominance. Like they want to pull like Germany did with the EU and like dominate everyone by like controlling their economy, right? So, as far as I'm aware, that's what the Japanese are all about in this game. They have a focus tree that kind of corresponds to that, right? So you're going to want to either do your military intervention or play the warlords against each other and have your own like pocket warlord win China, and then like control that through your own influence. And you want to take out the German East Asians and the Australasians over here, and then like the Philippines and the Siamese and whatnot, or the Insular Indians. They can either join your team voluntarily by going through your faction, or you can like invade them. Like as far as I'm aware, that's how this campaign plays out. So we'll see if that's true or not. So Japan starting position. We got limited conscription, limited exports, which is like a bit of a weird one. There's not a whole lot of people who start on that one, and that's going to give you the access to the most of your resources, but it's also gonna hurt your bonuses, right? It's like one step above closed economy. So you're only sending 25% of your resources to market, but you're only getting these kind of tinier bonuses than if you're on like export or free trade. Which of course means you export most of your resources, you don't have access to them, but you get these construction speed and factory output bonuses. So we're unlimited, and we'll see when we look at our trade whether or not that's going to be good for us or not. And we are on bullets economy, which is better than toasters, so that's something. As far as our conservative government goes, civilian factory construction speed, that's pretty good. Not great military speed though. We do have an election coming up in February. Resource gain efficiency, some more resources, and more resource gain efficiency, factories in a state, and political power gain. So, I mean, these guys aren't like the worst cabinet. They're okay. Having a negative political power gain not political power gain, negative military factory construction speed is a bit rough, but so we have an election coming in 26, so we can just build some civilians in the meantime. That'll be okay. So our government right now is social conservatives. And we're at 51% party popularity, which is pretty good. And we are the leader of the co-prosperity sphere, but as far as I'm aware, no one else is actually in the co-prosperity sphere at the moment. Occupied territories, we're occupying Korea right now, and looks like that's it. And we have no puppets. So that's something also that changed from when I was playing. Previously they had Feng Tian and Transmor as puppets, and now they're just, we just have a few treaties with them. That's that. So national spirits, surrender limit plus 10%. So I mean, that's okay. And we can't call in allies unless we are at war with a major or losing a war, which is, that's probably fine. Like I don't really anticipating us losing any wars, hopefully. And yeah, narrow gauge railways. This is a bit of a weird one. So it's going to hurt our resource gain efficiency, but also we're going to get 10% infrastructure construction speed. Which if you're fighting in Russia and you have to build infrastructure, then maybe that's not that bad to have. So it says here they're debating whether or not conversion is worth it. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there's a focus that'll let us do that. And poor land use is going to hurt our stability and war support. And again, I'm not sure if it's changed or not, but last time I played, there was a focus you could do to give you a bunch of decisions for land reform. And depending on how many of those decisions you did that the focus unlocks, and how long you spend doing them, you could either get a pretty nice bonus and drop this, just drop it, or if you didn't do enough, you'd still keep it and you'd have a malice even, I think, if you fucked up your land reform. But that's pretty rough. Negative 30% stability, but our stability's kind of high otherwise. So it's 45% is not too bad compared to some of the other people we've played. So it is what it is. Divided army is going to reduce our planning speed, which sucks. But when we look at our focus tree, you'll kind of see that this gets removed pretty quickly. So I don't think this will ever actually come into play when you're at war. And then we have Mantetsu profits here. And this has to do. I was looking at this. This seems to be a company that we run in Fangtian. And however much more control over Fangtian they have, and how much more stuff they can get away with, we're going to get better resource gain and factory output. Presumably the way I don't know how this works, but my guess is going to be the more we try and push these things over here, the more pissed off Fangtian is going to get at us, though. So we'll see. But it's a kind of a tiny bonus, but it's nice and it's pretty flavorful. So okay. Up here, we got 2.01 political power gain per day, which is pretty good. Our party popularity, 51%. That's pretty good. Stability, 45%, which is a little bit low, but still pretty average. 35% war support, which is again, kind of on the lower side. 1.04 million troops or manpower available, and we're only unlimited. So that's pretty good. We've got a pretty decent amount of manpower. 56 factories, so again, that's a bit behind, I think, where the French were. But that's still a pretty good economy comparatively to a lot of other people. It's better than Canada. And if I remember correctly from when I checked, we have 88 building slots total, though. So our problem is that we're going to be kind of constrained by how tiny our actual land is, as opposed to the number of our starting factories. Fuel, so we have a pretty tiny stockpile of 111.2 or 0.3k, 112.3k, and we have it looks like only 5 oil available, so not too much fuel. And we are naval power, so fuel is definitely going to be a problem for us. And then we have 296 convoys. And again, because Japan is an island, if you want to get resources from anyone else, we're going to have to use convoys to get that resources. Even though we have Korea, this isn't going to let us do land trade. And we can look at our trade here. Everything costs convoys. Everything costs convoys, so that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. So that's that. We have the usual starting 0 for experience. So decisions, we have the default fixers. Japan gets a vote on legation council. And then we have influence in the legation cities. So again, I'm not really sure what this does in particular. There's something that's added since last time I played, which was way before the China rework. But it looks like we're going to have the opportunities to kind of start shit, and the legation cities try and take over, be a little bit sneaky. So we'll see how that goes. Intelligence agency, we don't start with one. Researches, we have 4 research slots, which is nice. And we are a member of a tech sharing faction, which is that's okay too. Again, I don't think there's anyone else in that faction right now, so it doesn't really do anything for us. But once we make the core prosperity sphere, maybe that'll help out. So we have 4 research slots, which is average for major. Infantry, we have pretty good for infantry. We have 1936 guns, we have trucks, we have armored cars, we have marines. The only thing we're missing, I think, is mountaineers. Other than that, we have pretty much everything else you can expect to get from playing any country on the infantry tab. Support companies, again, we have pretty much as good as it gets here with engineers, recon, and military police. Armor, we only have the light tank available, no heavy. Artillery, we just have the artillery, we don't have the anti-air unlocked. We have no land doctrine, And if you look on the national focus tree, like you have a different tree depending on which doctrine you pick. So your choice of doctrine does matter, but you do get a tree for each one. Ship designs, we have 1936 hulls for everything. All the 1936 hulls up to date. We have dreadnoughts. We have the revived armored cruiser. We have transports. We have mines. And we have the improved ammunition too. And I think we also have this armor scheme over here for 1936 improved cruisers. So pretty good navally. Like again, this is definitely comparable to what the other majors get for Navy. One of the stronger ones, like on par with like a Union of Britain or like the Germans. No naval doctrine, and I don't think you're forced to pick a naval doctrine. If I remember from I'm looking correctly. Thought we did get one. Yeah, so it's just one doctrine over here. Anything we want. Air is also pretty good for the Japanese. We have 1936 for everything except for the strat bombers and scout planes. I haven't tried the scout planes out yet. Any of my playthroughs, so I'm not sure exactly how effective those are. I don't really use strategic bombers all that much, anyways. And we have of course, the carrier variants, the close air support, and naval bomber. So like kind of like the places that we're going to be fighting, it looks like it's going to be kind of like near islands, anyways. I'm probably just going to put naval bombers in our carriers. But yeah, air pretty good. And no doctrine to start with, which I don't think anybody gets those. I don't think anybody starts with an air or naval doctrine, anyways. And I don't think we are. We're not forced to make any national focus decisions based off air doctrine. So engineering, we start with the electromechanical engineering, like a lot of the other majors. And we have fuel storage research off the industry tab and nothing else. So that's Japan. Like overall, their technology is pretty good. We are a little bit behind. We don't have the heavy tank, but we're missing the Mountaineers. But like, aside from that, this is pretty much pretty strong research is for Japan. Diplomacy. So Fengtian legation cities and Transamur like us a lot. We have a non-aggression pact with Transamur, and we're guaranteeing the independence of the people in our kind of sphere of influence over here, Fengtian and Transamur and legation. So we have military access to all these people as well. And there's a bunch of people that are going to like us based on their ideology, and a bunch of people that don't. So nothing too spicy over here. Like I said, Fengtian and Transamur used to be Japanese puppets, but now they just have these treaties with them. So that's okay, I guess. Trade and resources. So Japan has, again, not a whole lot of oil. So oil is going to be a problem for us. We have a little bit of aluminum, no rubber, a decent amount of tungsten. That's like an okay amount of steel, but like for a major power, like that might be coming up a little bit short. That might be a problem for us. And then we have like a decent amount of chromium. So rubber and aluminum for planes and oil for aircraft, we're all kind of lacking. So that and then also like any trade with Japan, like I said, is going to be kind of overseas. But we do have like kind of the benefit that we are like pretty much uncontested as a major power for naval in this region. I think the Australasians can get like a decent navy, and the German East Asians have like a decent navy to start with, but like compared to the navy that Japan gets, like our navy is clearly superior. The AI is not great at using their navy anyway, so like that shouldn't be too much of a problem doing overseas trade, but it is something we're going to have to worry about. So construction, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try and queue up maybe like 10 fuel silos. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that. And then I'm going to build civilian factories first. Just to make sure that I don't forget the building slots for these. Probably we do want to have fuel storage when our navy goes out. No, don't want that. There's 60% over here. I'll go for building that first, and see where that takes us. Production. Let's look at our templates first. So templates, we have militia, which I don't think we're ever going to need, so I'm just going to delete that. We have the standard 18 width with support artillery. That's nice. We have a 12 width garrison template that has military police, and of course, I think this predates the lab resistance patch, where you still had to use infield units to garrison, but military police is not actually useful on the field anymore. It just increases your suppression, and of course, suppression is only if you're a garrison template that matters. So I think we're just gonna actually maybe change this over. Alright, cavalry's fine for this right now, but we do start with a bunch of these in the field, so we can, once we remove this, we will get a bunch of support equipment back, which we might be able to use for something more useful, like engineers. But we do have that template. We have 12 with cavalry. We have 8 width engineers, or sorry, 8 engineers for 16 width over here. Wow, I misspoke that. I was a little bit distracted. Sorry. 16 width Marines. We have 8 Marine battalions over here. And I think we look at our army, if I remember correctly, we actually have like 4 of these. So we're actually over our Special Forces cap to start. Yeah, we're currently fielding 32 out of 24 allowed Special Forces battalions. So, I mean, that's a little bit odd. But, as far as Marine templates go, we don't have any support companies, but 16 width is a lot better than, something like Canada. I think we had 4 battalions for like an 8 width or something, which is a bit silly. Then we have the default tank template with no motorized. We only have the helmets, which is odd because I think we do have motorized available. But again, I think at one point Japan didn't have motorized available, if I remember correctly. So that might just be like a holdover from that for their starting template. Starting templates, production, what do we want to build here? So we are going to need carrier naval bombers, because we do have a carrier-based navy. So maybe do that. We probably are going to want some support equipment. Fighter ones. No, it's I don't usually like to build the first tier of planes. You can, but it's like I'm not a huge fan. So let's see here. Do we want tanks or not? Like, oil is going to be a problem for us, and it might be more effective to use planes. Maybe go for like a heavy tank or something. Because I haven't really thought this. I haven't really played Japan too much out. So I don't really have like a build planned, and I'm not sure particularly what doctrine I want to go with. Like if you look at your national focus tree, like I think these ones are definitely better. When I was looking at it before, you get the 10% division attack national spear, which is very strong, and you have like the choice of superior firepower, and this gives you artillery, or you can go for the mobile warfare. You get mech and armor, and then speed bonus as well. This gives you an org bonus. So that's a bit of a tough call. Are we gonna build tanks? Are we gonna do heavies or what? So I might just actually flip a coin and see what we do there, and play it out. So I'm gonna go for let's see here. I'm gonna go for heads is mobile warfare, tails is superior firepower. And we got tails, so we're gonna be going superior firepower. So I think in that case, let's go with the light tanks, I guess, and that should be okay. And if we're not going to be doing the tank rush, we can just use these for our volunteers. And I think even like beating up the Chinese or something, throwing a few light tanks in is like probably okay. And we might want some more artillery. We're going to be maybe something like that. Yeah, let's go with this, and then like we'll go with maybe like a 14-4 style template, but we'll replace like 1 or 2 of the units with like some light tanks over there to get us some breakthrough, and we'll see if that works out, and then we'll go with the superior firepower path. So we'll roll out with that. Research is. Let's get the HOI go right away, I guess. We can start building a better tank. this, we'll get that. And then let's get our doctrine started. Alright, and dockyards. We do have 14 dockyards. Start building some convoys. Let's start doing some destroyers, I guess. And do we want, let's also maybe get some escort cruisers. We got here. So this is like a normal cruiser, and like some of the Japanese ones are pretty weird. I think like you get these mine laying ones, but let's go with this maybe, something like that. Let's also get our navy together too. I might actually want to do some refits. Have you guys, I don't know, group up over here. Yeah, I'll have a group over there and we'll take a look. I'm pretty sure some of these carriers might want to refit. So, we'll do that. I think we have a couple that have deck armor and we probably want deck space. And for our national focus, so national focus tree just in general. Okay, so we should probably talk about this. I haven't talked about this yet. So again, like I haven't played too much Japan, but I did take a look at this stuff like a little bit before I made this video. So we can do the National Security Act, which will get us started in our political tree, and this is going to happen after like the May 15th incident. They're going to try to pass this bill, and you can either do defend democracy or longest day based on whether or not the bill passes or fails, respectively. If it fails, you're going to get you're going to get a coup. You're going to get a coup that restores the Imperial Japan, and then you'll have these different factions. You have like a hands-off kind of guided monarchy thing. You have like the restoration of like kind of like the shogunate sort of or whatever, the samurai in charge. And you've got this other guy, which I think is the prince's faction. Yeah, Prince Kanoe. He's got his own like hard imperial influence over here, where he's going to try and do that. And then this side you have military centralism, which is like the army is like running the country, and then you have the you stuck with democracy. So like bland old democracy path. And then once you're done that, you get your extra research slot, and then you're going to get into your economy tree. And so this over here gets rid of your rail gauge. So for that national focus we're looking at, land reform will give us the decisions to deal with land reform. And then when we're at war, we get the option to get a bunch of oil over here, which is nice. And then you get these 3 different economic paths you can go down. I think some of these paths will lock you out in one of these things, and then you have your choice of like a bunch of factories, but you lose stability in a bunch of companies. This is kind of like your middle of the road pick, if I remember correctly. You're going to piss off some foreigners by nationalizing their stuff. You get a bit of infrastructure and a lesser number of factories, but you get a nice national spirit too. And this one over here is like going to support like a bunch of like it's like corporatism or whatnot. So it's going to give you a bunch of buffs and resources and in factories, but you're going to lose some political power. And then I'm not sure. There's like a caution here if you pick this. I'm not sure if it actually does anything or not. And once you're done that, you can get your colonial incentives over here, and then I guess this is I imagine probably to core a bunch of this stuff, but I'm not sure. I've never taken these, but we'll have the some integration events apparently. So we'll have that. And you have your army tree. So you have grand battle plan, mass assault, superior firepower, mobile warfare. So these will all get you some nice national spirits or whatnot. Like we already have a lot of manpower anyways, and the total war readiness thing over here just gives you even more manpower and like a bonus to infantry weapons. Like that's all it does. So I'm not sure why you would ever want to do this, especially considering mobile warfare gives you an extra 5% recruitable population anyways if you want desperate defense, if you really need the manpower. And like it says, there are consequences for coming down, to get even more, to get this anyways. So again, I'm not really, this seems like not a great tree. I kind of like a real loser. I don't know why you'd ever pick this, but I don't know. And the grand battle plan is kind of interesting too. Like if you want to play like a whole lot of navy or whatnot, this will get you like a research bonus for electronics, and of course radar is pretty important for that. And grand battle plan is like if you're willing to play in that style, it's not like a horrible doctrine to play. Like it will get you the highest bonuses out of every doctrine as long as you're willing to wait for your planning, your entrenchment. And max planning 10% is a very nice national spirit, right? Because your max planning is going to increase your breakthrough and your attack on attacks. So plus 10% to that beyond what you get from Grand Battle Plan already is very nice. And then you get either recovery rate or planning speed. I'd probably go with recovery rate. So that's okay if you want to do that. And then Superior Firepower, Mobile Warfare, we kind of already talked about how they have like this really nice spirit that gives you attack plus 10% straight up, which is really good. Probably better than 10% max planning. But yeah, this is like extremely good. You can get it with either one of these, and then you either get Organization 10% or Speed 10%, depending on which tree you go for. And this gives you some artillery research and an extra doctrine. And then this is going to give you moat mech research and armor research. And then down over here, like you get 75 political power, which is a bit weird, but that's not a bad focus to get to maybe change your economy law, go up to partial very quickly. As a first focus, that could be pretty strong. And then you get your couple experience focuses, some dockyards focuses, and the rest are all just research bonuses for various stuff. And there are a few nice spirits over here. You get agility plus 10% and air attack plus 10%. So those are very nice national spirits for air, extremely strong. And then you can get kamikaze pilots and air experience gain down here. And this stuff is just more research bonuses and rockets, and then you get an event with this nuke one, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that does, but it gives you two small bonuses for nukes and an event. And there was a patch note that says Japan was able to start building a nuclear reactor really early, so I'm just wondering maybe if that was a nuke wretch patch, but apparently that has since been nerfed. And then over here is your expansionist tree, right? So you can do this and give you 50% justify war goal time, which would have been really nice to have if we were still able to manually justify war goals like early in the game. You can take this after the Second American Civil War has begun, and then this stuff gives you your choices to deal with China. You can either support your warlord allies, or you can do divide and conquer. So like over here you have like your support Fang Tian, over here is like your war crimes and Manchuria tree. And yep, that's that. And then this is your co-prosperity sphere decisions over here to create your faction. And then apparently they have like this whole economic integration thing. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I assume you'd get that by coming down this tree. And then over here is for the Philippines, Dutch East Indies, and attacking the Siam and Indochina, and like all the other areas in your sphere of influence. You can, I guess, get claims on them, or something like that. Anyways, yeah. So this is either decisions. I'm not sure if any of these give you like straight up war goals. They all seem to be like decisions or claims or something like that. It's like they might be conditional. So I'm not sure if it's actually possible to go to war early. But we'll see. We might come down here after the Second American Civil War and do this focus and see how this pans out. And maybe if we get an early war, that'd be nice. So in terms of like what do we want to do here? Do we want kind of like you probably either want to go for like a fighter rush for air, or if we're going to be playing with artillery, getting that artillery research bonus might be nice too as well. That 56. Do we have anything that finishes around that time? Like maybe machine tools we could do. But you don't want to do this again before, because you want to use that to get your next model of artillery if we're going to be playing with artillery. And like again, artillery is not really like a great technology. But if we're not going to be playing with tanks, we want to play with infantry, and like infantry is kind of like the traditional way to play Japan anyways. In vanilla, right? You're beating up China, and the Chinese units have like such heavy debuffs that you can kind of do that. And I'm not sure exactly how that works out with in Kaiserreich fighting China. Like I think when I was looking, China used to have like some pretty heavy defense penalties, but I think they've switched that to organization penalties instead. But like I said, I think we're going to go like more infantry heavy and like focus on maybe like a combined arms unit with like tanks and artillery. And see how that goes rather than just doing like tank spam like we've done previously. And like I don't think this will be as good as a strategy of in comparison to just going mobile warfare and rushing a tank. Like that's still probably what you want to do when you're playing Japan. We've kind of done that a bunch of times anyways, so we're just doing this for something different, right? See if we can make it work, and so we're going to try for that. So we would like to get a better model of artillery because we're going to be making artillery, and which means you want to time out your national focus so that you get this after you've already done the this one over here. Like you don't want to be wasting your research bonus on this. You want to be using your research bonus to get you down to 1939, and then you can build 1939 artillery all the way up until 1942. So that's pretty good. So that's probably what we're going to try to go for, but we're not ready for that right now. We get the bonus too soon. So we're going to go for this civil political power, and then hopefully we can get on into Russian mobilization with that. And let's maybe take a look at our army. We talked about that. I think we've cleared all those things over there. So we have 24 units at regular status even of the 18 width with support artillery. 22 units of garrison. 4 units of the Marines, 16 width Marines, and 6 units of 12 width cavalry. So might just take our garrison units over here and just have them garrison our stuff. Garrison order. I'm not sure exactly where everything is set up right now, but we'll have them do the garrison. It's a Russian island. I think that's everything, so we'll do that, and these guys can be your Coast Guards. Eventually, we are going to want to pull the support equipment out of these guys. They don't need military police. We can use that for something else. And we start with 22 units with that support company that we don't need. So that's quite a decent amount of support equipment in the bank. And for the rest of our stuff, cavalry, we probably aren't going to need cavalry all that much, but I don't know. We'll just have these guys do a front line over here or something. Should probably be fine. And cavalry, we'll just put the cavalry into our Coast Guard units for now. And Marines. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with the Marines. Let's just have these guys hang out by one of our ports. If we need to do a naval invasion with them, we can do a naval invasion with them. And I seem to recall Japan having some decent generals too. We got this guy over here who's going to be able to get Fortress Buster and Trickster, and he's got decent stats already, so that's pretty nice. Infantry leader, cavalry officers. We could try and get a cavalry guy. Flexible strategist. Yeah, it looks like we have quite a few brilliant strategists. So that's that's a good trait because it gives you an extra attack, which is pretty tasty to get. So you got a bunch of cavalry guys. Some infantry guys. And you got a Fort Buster over here. I was just checking to see if maybe we have an artillery officer, but it doesn't look like we do. We do have some guys that have the cavalry leader trait, though. So what we could do is try and make a cavalry template with our artillery. And try and get the bonus, that division bonus there. Maybe that is something that we want to do actually. Try and farm that trait on one of our leaders. We have guys that have the bonus, so we might be able to send something around as volunteers maybe. And then maybe instead of doing 14-4 with infantry, we'll do it with cavalry. And then because it's cavalry, you'll be able to double dip on that bonus. How good is our cavalry leader though? Reckless, Reckless is not a good general trait to have. You don't want your good generals getting wounded a lot. And this guy's also got old guards. This guy is not someone we want to invest into, unfortunately. And then we got this guy over here, Yamato Tozo. So probably we want to work off of him. He's got like decent attack already, and he's got no learned traits. So we might want that. Yeah, it seems like probably our best guy if we're going to try this tactic, which we might do. Again, that'll be something different. That's Yamada Atozo over here, so let's have to remember that we have him. Could also do this guy to get the infantry officer trait and then try and also farm cavalry on him at the same time. And if you watch my video on templates, cavalry count is both an infantry and a cavalry unit. So you're doing that, like the idea of using the cavalry instead of the infantry is that you'll get the infantry. You'll get the bonus from both, cavalry leader over here for cavalry attack plus 10%, and you're also going to try and get the infantry extra bonus for infantry division attack plus 10%. So you get both of those, kind of double dip. That's the idea, anyways. But we'll see what we can do with that. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, like we do have trucks research, I definitely want to start building some trucks. Maybe a couple trucks. Maybe one factory on this. We probably aren't gonna need like a whole bunch of these naval bombers. I think we start with some anyways. And yeah, maybe do something like that. And then we can do our unit with cavalry, motorized artillery, and throw in a couple light tanks for breakthrough or something, and we'll see where that gets us. That might be okay. And we probably do want to trade for stuff too, because I noticed we had some deficits there. Or not anymore. Not with the current production. We're okay, except for a bit of rubber. I don't know. Maybe we want to trade for that. What are we? Just one factory over here and like some tracks. Minus 7%. Minus 15%. Yeah, let's trade for a rubber. We'll trade for a rubber. The Siamese. Alright, so I guess we'll roll out with that and see what happens. Like, I think I will read some of the events this time. Just because I haven't played this faction too much before. And also Air Force, before I forget over here. So we have... What's this over here? It's a naval bomber. These are naval bombers. So you have 50 naval bombers, 50 tactical bombers, 25 fighters, and our carrier planes. Like, not a huge air force. So, recovering from the lost decade. In what has come to be called the lost decade, the 1920s were marked by economic depression and political instability in Japan. The plight was particularly severe in the agricultural sector and caused a massive demographic change, as farmers fled from the depressed countryside to urban areas, flooding the labor market and further driving down wages. After leaving the Kensaikai-led constitutionalist coalition and taking charge of the government, Inukai and his cabinet successfully expanded the Japanese sphere of influence into Manchuria and the edges of Siberia, acquiring a vital export market for the Japanese economy. But the agricultural situation continued to deteriorate as cheap agricultural imports from Manchuria bled to the countryside. As 1936 dawns, continued rearmament and state investment have fully rebuilt the industrial economy, but the issue of rural poverty remains chronic and unsolved. Gamanshiyu! Hi! I don't know what that means. I'm probably going to screw up a bunch of Japanese translations too. Or, like, not translations, but, like, pronouncing their words. Oh, we got a free military factory. That's interesting. Where am I getting that from? Like, we don't have any puppets, right? Did I just miss one? Let's put that into tanks, I guess. That's fine. Huh. Interesting. And there goes Kerensky. Voting rights and legation council. The legation cities were formed in 1928 as a result of the Americans intervening in the Zili-Fangtian conflict that they believed was going to spill out into open war between ourselves and the Zili and their German backers. When a passenger train was attacked by Chinese warlords, America saw the opportunity to mediate not only in order to create a more permanent solution to the instability in the East, but also to enshrine the open door policy in China, which allows all powers equal access to Chinese markets. Consisting of all official concessions in China as well as a 30-mile neutral zone, legation cities, officially known as the International Mandate for the Chinese Concessions, also host a forum, the Legation Council, for the various powers with Chinese interests to coordinate their policies better. As the foremost power in the Far East, we naturally are able to vote on the Council, and both further our Chinese agenda and stymie our enemies. How exciting! We get 25 political power from that and negative 2% consumer goods. So very nice. Mantetsu declares record earnings. Japan has had a presence in Manchuria ever since the conclusion of the Russo-Japanese War, and in the years since our hold over the region has greatly strengthened. The negotiations at Shanghai in 1928 forced the world to recognize our right to a free hand in Manchuria, opening boundless opportunity to our citizens under the Kwantung Army's watchful eye. Our goal is not absolute, however, and Zhang Zuolin's Fengtian government is not always cooperative. It is fortunate for him that our desire to safeguard a profitable peace in Manchuria remains paramount, alongside our hope that his government will one day act as a vehicle for our greater Chinese ambitions. For these reasons, the heart of our efforts in Manchuria is the South Manchuria Railway Group, or Mantetsu for short, which has become responsible for developing and exploiting vast swaths of the Manchurian economy, propelling the region to become Japan's primary source of coal and steel, as well as a producer of over half the world's soybean supply. Today, Mantetsu has announced its highest profits to date. Manchuria is truly a cornucopia of opportunity, and we'll get 25 political power for that. Very nice. So I've also heard that Fengtian usually rebels and stabs you in the back regardless of whatever you do. But I've also, looking in the patch notes, it seems that has been reined in or something, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's going to play out in this game. Dissolution of the Diet. Diet? Sure. The 4-year term of the incumbent Imperial Diet, elected in 1932, is ending. Prime Minister Inukai Tsuyoshi has called for a general election to happen as soon as possible. Very well. Alright, yeah, we don't even need that focus, we can just go to partial mob. Okay. I'll take it. Thinking about that, if we would have saved that political power, we could have also got that plus 75 and maybe got a tank designer in time for a light tank too. Oh, anarchist elected in France. And there's Black Monday. That would probably be okay. Breakthrough is if you're going to do tank splashes, having extra breakthrough is actually helpful. Soft attack reliability, breakthrough reliability. Right. And King asks for our support. Okay. Chen Taoyuan, governor of Anhui province within the League of 8 provinces, has asked for our support in their coming struggle against the Qing and the League. Whilst Chen takes a strong anti-concessionist viewpoint and receives most of his support from this movement, he also recognizes the position he has found himself trapped in. Either he sticks with his ideals and loses his land, his army, and likely his life, or he reaches out and comes knocking on the door of the most powerful nation in all of East Asia. I guess that's us. Urged by the governor of Zhejiang, Chen Yi, to establish contact with Fengtian and their allies, it seems that he has chosen for the latter option. This has provided us with an excellent opportunity to further weaken German hold on Nanjing and cause damage on the southern flank of the Qing center of power, something we should exploit as much as possible. Caution should still be advised, however, as pushing ourselves too hard on Chen may yet cause him to reconsider, or worse, have his support and by extension his chances of victory evaporate. Another piece has entered the board. Oh, Shan King Tiankao declares. This is the event over here where Shan King has gone with extreme Buddhist mode instead of drugged out Zhongshang route. Which is unfortunate. Zhongshang is probably the best meme in Kaiserreich, right? You got your drugged out warlord doing batshit insane stuff. Black Monday reaches the shores. Eventually, as expected, the domino effect of the economic failure in the German Empire has reached our empire. But we are not as affected as our neighbors in the region due to our quite grand economic isolation from the German markets. We were still touched by it. Oh, we were touched. The Zaibatsu and our banks will have a hard time for those few months. That was to be expected. Poland is declaring a republic. It's nice for the Poles, I guess. And Austria withdraws from Italy. So decisions available. We can trigger instability in Tianjin and get up to some shenanigans. Let's see here. With the world in the throes of Black Monday, China, and by extension the Mandate, has been badly hit, with the Chinese within the city suffering terribly. Tensions are reaching a boiling point, and by giving our operatives in operatives in the China Agency, I'm not sure what that is, the green light, we can gain a prerogative to gain a foothold in Tianjin. Okay, I guess we do that. So we're gonna, I guess, pay tax in Tianjin. See what that does. Seems like we're doing a little bit of false flag operation or something. No, sneaky Japanese. We'll see. Mission from Norway. We recently received a trade delegation from the Kingdom of Norway. The country seeks new trading partners as it is not part of the German Reichspakt that dominates trade on the European mainland. They seek to trade, among other things, dried fish, and have offered us very favorable rates on Norwegian merchant shipping. Most of our trade experts are in favor of accepting, while a few oppose the use of foreign shipping and moving Japanese goods. So we can pay 20 political power for 75 units of convoys, or we can gain 20 political power. I don't know. I mean, let's just get the convoys, I guess. We're getting a lot of political power anyways. And we're going to have to trade. The illusion of Qing hegemony shatters. Uh-oh. I think this is in China. They're starting to lose their hold a little bit. They're having some warlord problems. China is finally divided. Oh. General election 1936. So I think for this game I probably do want to go on military centralism. Like, democracy is kind of a lame path, and like I think lots of people have done the like, I think this is usually the one I think I see people going for, the Kadoha. It's like the samurai route. So I think I probably want to try for centralism. And again, like this has been a long time since I played, so like I can't remember particularly how to get on this route. I think what we have to do is have these guys lose their absolute majority, pass the bill so we get to this focus over here, and then have the Japanese emperor lose faith in the government, I think. So we're gonna try for that anyways. Like, I mean, that could be wrong. Like, like I'm not really a Japan player, so I'm not sure. General election 1936. After the constitutional restoration of 1926 and subsequent political realignment, two parties came to dominate Japanese politics. The conservative Rikken Sayukai, Association of Friends of Constitutional Government, wow, that's a mouthful, and the liberal Min Saito, Democratic Party. The Rikken Sayukai has an absolute majority from the general election of 1932, but support in the countryside, their traditional voting base, has been declining. As the political atmosphere turned against the ruling party, the Minseito, known as the Kenseikai Constitutional Government Association before 1927, solidified its electoral base throughout the cities and began to expand into the countryside, hoping to break the Sayukai's absolute majority in the Diet. A new third player in the general election of 1936 is the Shakai Taishuto Socialist Masses Party, funded by Social Democrats and Syndicalists in 1933. Gross. It is now time to see if the Sayukai have retained enough seats to keep an absolute majority. We'll say they have lost it. It's going to cost us 50 political power. Harsh. Training mission to Anking. The Anking clique is in dire need of additional troops to be able to meet the League. Should we send a large training mission to them? While victory for them would be an enormous boost to our influence within China, this training mission would constrain our own training abilities for at least a while. Yeah, sure, let's do that. I think we can actually send some volunteers over to our boy. If he's going to be asking for our help, we probably want to support him, right? Send some air volunteers. I can only send one division, though. Limited by their number of provinces. Alright. So I think we wanted to try and train a cavalry guy, I think I said, right? So let's actually maybe pull these guys out then. And let me go over to here. So we'll send them a cavalry division and some air volunteers. And of course, they'll allow our troops to fight in the struggle. I don't think they actually have an air base, though, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, not quite. Alright, next national focus. Like I think we go for the artillery rush, right? So we go for army direction. And as before I forget, let's take a look at our navy here. So we have 3 groups of subs, and most of these are Welt Creek subs. We do have a couple large subs though. Welt Creek subs, a couple more large subs. More Welt Creek subs and some large subs. So like we have like not like a huge amount of submarines. They're also kind of like, I guess, old submarines too. I mean, at least they have double torpedo tubes, right? But I mean, like, they're still Welt Creek subs. In our main fleet, we have 6 carriers, 4 dreadnoughts, 8 armored cruisers, 11 battleships, 10 cruisers, 17 escort cruisers, and 101 destroyers. And let's take a look over here. So we have so what kind of like what we're looking for is a deck space. So okay, so this has, and these are, it looks like some experimental carriers. So experimental carriers aren't that great in comparison. And remember, guys, you can only have 4 carriers in your fleet before you start taking penalties. So is it going to be worth it to have like an experimental carrier around that only has 40 deck space? Probably not. Like, you probably want to be using your other carriers. And so we have converted battleship carriers with 60 deck space, Kaga and the Atago. So unfortunately, we don't have a converted dreadnought, which is like the Union of Britain get, but fair enough. I think it's just this one over here. So we're going to actually want this guy to refit to make sure we have the 60 deck space. Yeah, go with that, I guess. So we'll start converting that over. And probably want to get the planes off these carriers too. What's the name of those ships anyways? This is the Hosho and Shokaku. Okay. We'll just expand those guys and the rest of you guys. Let's expand all these too. And we want to do naval bombers. And that's supposed to be 60. 60 naval bombers. I have 60 naval bombers as well. And you can also have 60 naval bombers. And like I said, from the articles I've read on naval combat, like the fighters apparently right now are bugged and they don't actually intercept planes in naval combat as well as they're like theoretically supposed to. So it's, you know, the tests that I saw people doing showed that having 100% naval bombers was pretty much superior all the time. You know, especially if we're gonna be fighting over here, we can get air cover from land anyways. You know, then you want naval bombers on your carriers instead. So we're gonna go with that. Although I think the Japanese, because if we get kamikazes, I think kamikazes are probably they might be better than the naval bombers, but I will just go with this for now. If you want to switch to kamikazes later, we got, you know, fighters in reserve we can do with that. Like otherwise, like Japan, I think if I remember correctly, has like some pretty weird ships. So these are 2 turret dreadnoughts, And I think we have 2 of these other ones over here that are also going to have triple turret dreadnoughts. I mean, those are nice. It's nice that we get some of those. And yeah, so the armored cruisers, again, if you remember, I think I've mentioned this before, but the armored cruisers usually have level 2 stuff. Well, the battleships usually have level 1, which makes them like kind of like a pretty similar ship, with the armored cruiser actually being slightly better, in a lot of ways. Like compared to like the Weltkrieg hull, right? I mean, it's going to be, they have a level 2 engine, so they're going to be faster. This actually, I think, is a revised armored cruiser, so that's maybe not the best one to pick. Revived armored cruisers are kind of like a weird ship. Like you see, they have 7,500 kilometers of range, which is like insane. Even like a modern battleship or something like that, range is only where's the range at? Can you tell me? Yeah, range is only 4,500 on a modern heavy ship. But the revived armored cruiser, which is like a 1936 tier hull, has 7,500 max range. Like they're an extremely long range ship, but they're slow. They only have a cruiser engine, which again is a little bit weird. That's one of the Kaiserreich unique hulls, is the revived armored cruiser. So these are like really good if you need to do something long range. Like you can get all the way across the Atlantic with these pretty much. But if you look at it, they have battleship armor, but they only have cruiser engines. So like as a result, they're really slow, and they have high visibility, comparatively, yeah, which makes them kind of easy to hit. It's like, I don't know. I mean, they kind of seem like they'd be torpedo bait, because you have to send them out on their own, because like nothing else in the game has this much range except for large submarines, which I think cap out at like 7,000 if you have double fuel tanks. They might even be less than that. And so they can't really be escorted on those long range missions, and they're not very fast and they're easy to hit. But if you did need to get naval superiority against like a minor power or something like that for naval invasion at long range, then these will help out with that. Yeah, but for the normal armored cruiser, like these Congo class over here, these have level 2 stuff, engine and armor, whereas the heavy hulls, like the battleships as opposed to the armored cruisers, tend to have level 1 stuff. All right. So the armored cruisers tend to be fast. This is again not the right ship that I was looking for. This over here, yeah. So the armored cruisers tend to be faster. They're gonna have more hit points because they have the more advanced, armor module, and guns are gonna be similar depending on the guns that they have. But the armor is only 1 point less. Even though this is an armored cruiser and this is a battleship, the armor is only 1 point less, and the armored cruiser has more hit points because they have level 2 technology. But very similar ships, anyways, because of that difference. Otherwise, like a battleship with level 2 armor would be much better, which you might actually have if I saw some interwars. Yeah. So this would be like a level 2 battleships. So these are actually pretty nice. I think these are even super heavies. Yeah, they are. Super heavy batteries, a tier 5 gun. So we have a couple of super heavy battleships in addition to our dreadnoughts. It's the Omi class over here. That's pretty nice. It's definitely nice to have. And like the cruisers thing, we have like a few of those. You have like a bunch of these ones over here that have these mine laying rails on them, which is pretty weird. Pretty weird to have. Like I'm not sure if I really want to split this stuff out to have like these have mine laying rails too. So I think most of our cruisers wind up having mine laying rails. Yeah, which is weird because like I don't really want to split my cruisers out to have like mine laying groups. You just usually want to leave them in there. It's like, I don't know. That's really weird. Weird to have that. I don't think I'm going to do anything with that anyways. Like I might want to refit that eventually to maybe put like another turret there, pull these off and like stick another turret on or something. I'm not sure if that's even worth it, to be honest. Like I said, against the AI, like the AI is not great with their navy anyways. And we have like a strong enough navy that I think if we just death stack like we do with Union Britain and the Germans, then we can probably just do everything we need to do anyways. But I'll just keep that in our back of our heads there that we have these. So we have for our screens over here when we're organizing our fleet, we have 101 destroyers and 17 light cruisers. And like the minimum, I think I was looking at the wiki is actually 3. I thought it was 4 for like the longest time, but I guess it's 3. You need 3 escorts per capital ship in order to get your max screening efficiency, and then carriers additionally need to have a capital ship to screen them from heavy guns. But because we're going to be having a death stack, we're going to take some penalties to our positioning because we have a much larger fleet than the enemy, and that will hurt our screening efficiency. So we want to make sure we have extra screens. So I usually like to roll out with 5 or 6. I find is usually pretty good. So we can play with around 19 capital ships with the current number of escorts we have, and the rest of them we should probably just stick in reserve, or we can use them for like naval invasion support or something. So I think we definitely want our dreadnoughts and our carriers. So that's going to be 8. Leaves us with 12 more. So I think we pick the armored cruisers and maybe these those super heavy battleships seem like pretty nice as well. So let's go ahead and let's bench these cruisers for now. Those into reserve. Coastal defense ships, you definitely don't want those in your death stack. It's going to hurt your range. Revived armored cruisers, again, those are like pretty slow as well. I probably don't want those. And what does that leave us with here? So we have, this is going to be 4, 8, 12, and then out of the remaining battleships, you want 8 of those. So we like bench 3. This is like all level 1 stuff over here on the Fuso class, so let's send these into reserve. Go with that. We'll roll out with this for a death stack. And the rest of these we can all just stick in like 1 submarine fleet. I usually use my subs for like patrolling too. We also have like this over here with our large subs. And we can have these guys as like we can use those for spotting. That's usually what large subs are good for, and spotting and long range. So over here we have do we have a Seawolf? Yeah, so you get the Seawolf. And best admiral is probably this guy over here. And for spotting, this guy's got spotters, so we can do that. So I think we'll roll out with that for like the organization of our navy, which is, I don't know, maybe a little bit boring to watch me do that, but that is kind of important. And like we are eventually going to want also an escort task fleet, just because we're going to have to trade like overland. So we're gonna need an escort task fleet, and that's actually gonna mean we're gonna have to do like a whole bunch of destroyers. So maybe we only build 1 cruiser here and stick the rest on destroyers. That's probably the play. Like we're gonna need probably quite a few destroyers, especially if we I know the Russians can have submarines and the Americans have a navy too. So if we wind up going to war with them, then we definitely want to make sure we protect our shipping. The Anton as well might also have submarines. You want to get raided. So go with that. We got volunteers going to Ansheng there, and sometimes these fights can be pretty volatile. Like I have had it before, where it's like you want to send volunteers over, but the war ends before they even get there. All right, so we got an event here: assassination of Katayama Sen. Born in 1859, Katayama Sen was one of the most senior syndicalist leaders in Japan, known as the father of Japanese syndicalism. Exiled to the USA after participating in the early social democratic movement, Katayama witnessed and was influenced by Jack Reed's syndicalist activities in the development of the IWW into the CSA. Katayama returned to Japan after the constitutional restoration of 1926 and founded the first legal syndicalist party in Japan, the Kodo Nominto Labor Farmer Party. And after the party was declared illegal in 1932, he formed another party called the Shakai Taishuto Socialist Masses Party, an amalgamation of social democratic parties and syndicalist movements. Yesterday, while visiting Kyoto to congratulate Taishuto member Yamamoto Senji on his election, a gang of 3 right-wingers stormed his office and beat the 2 men with clubs. Yamamoto survived, but Katayama, aged 75, never regained consciousness and died earlier today. This will be bad. Shanghai refuses. Terrible news has come out of Shanghai. The mandate has refused to give us a green light into further operations. This is a major blow to our plans to take over Tianjin, and we will now have to wait for the China agency to orchestrate more attacks before we can make our demands again. So it looks like we're trying to start some shit there and then, say we need to send more troops over there and take over to stop the shit that we started in the first place. Very sneaky. Yeah, so military centralism, I'm not sure what this event does, but you get some other nice stuff over here, like 10% consumption, or supply consumption, we get some brutal population recovery rate, minus 10% consumer goods, which is nice, we don't have that many building slots, extra factory output, and production efficiency cap. Yeah, the engine click capitulated. It's like our volunteers didn't even get there and the war is already over. But okay. Oh, Pope's dead. Gallo has taken control of Ecuador, okay. Okay, and they've declared war on the Shanking. Let's send them some volunteers again this time, and they might need that this time. We can actually send 2 divisions now. Socialists are having their little internationale there. Let's see, who did we wind up with here? Oh, they're still doing it. But the communists went with Sebastian Farr, I guess, as the anarchists there. There, okay, so we got our volunteers there this time, actually. Alright, so, and they'll have an airport this time. That means that 60 planes over. These are attack bombers, right? So just send our tactical bombers so they can support our Anking volunteers here. Let's go with, wanted that cavalry general, right? Alright, this guy's got an infantry officer. We could go with this guy as well. He's got brilliant strategists. So, actually, let's go with this. And I think having infantry officer is probably just as good as cavalry officer. Like we're gonna need both of them anyways, right? And this guy seems like he's probably a little bit better. And I don't know. These guys can, I guess, be like a dark green or light green. Try and match Anking. I don't know. This is a little autistic to do this, but whatever. Looks like we might not even actually get to do anything anyways. It's like Anqing is going to have like probably a pretty good game. Looking very good for Ninja. Although Shan King Tian Kuo did just looks like they spawned like a bunch of troops here. And they decided to declare war. Why would you do that when you have no troops on their border? I don't know. I don't understand. But okay. This could be a problem for us now. Let me get cut off. Unfortunately, it is kind of hard to try and farm a general with volunteers only. Like, ideally, you'd want to have an earlier war. Alright, disagreements within army leadership. The ongoing factional rivalry within the ranks of the IJA has found a new front. The military strategic debate between the two rising stars, Major General Nagata Tetsuzan of the Centralist faction, and Major General Obata Toshishiro of the Restorationist faction. General Nagata believes the Japanese economy is inadequate to sustain any kind of total warfare, and thus building up an army capable of total war should be our top objective. He calls for expanding our mobilization capability, modernizing equipment, and centralizing the command structure. General Obata's analysis is nearly identical, but he has come to a different conclusion. Due to volatile international tensions, war would come to Japan before the country could ever achieve such a capacity through internal development. Accordingly, he came to the conclusion that in future wars, the IJA must seek the quick destruction of hostile forces by waging war through short, rapid, and decisive operations to avoid a long war. Both agree a centralized command structure is a good idea, and that raw manpower tactics are a poor strategy. We can never hope to compete with the Russian or Chinese manpower. We may now choose how to proceed. I will choose wisely. I think I said we were going to go superior firepower. And again, like, I think the mobile warfare path is probably better. The general got fucking wounded. So he is learning infantry leader. Even like he's noticed we're getting that even though we're using cavalry. Friction within the Japanese left. The shock of the assassination of Katayama-sen initially united the Shakai Taishuto in solidarity against the White Terror, but the unity did not last long. The party was originally structured as a coalition of various social democrats and syndicalist organizations, only united in the goal of socialization of the economic structure with the proletariat at its foundation. Before his death, Katayama had guided the party away from ideological clashes, but deprived of its leader, the party was forced to face the question of its precise ideological position, and infighting soon began. Well, I guess that's how it is with lefties, right? It's like the lefty's greatest enemy is another lefty. Throughout the spring of 1936, national syndicalists called Nichiroki Japan Labor Clique adopted totalism and vigorously expanded its membership, not only inside the party at the expense of the moderate Shaman-kei Social Democratic Clique, but also from outside the party, notably from the Shaman-kei-controlled Nihon Rodo Sodomai, Japan Central Federation of Labor. Soon an open fight between the two groups broke out. The Nichiroki accused the Sodomei of being run by the labor bureaucrat establishment, and in turn the Sodomei and the Shaman-kei accused the Nichiroki of hijacking and turning labor organizations into their puppets. The Nichiroki's members were expelled from both the Sodomei and the Taishuto earlier this month, and the group is now operating independently. An interesting development. Oh, failed coup in Beijing. Oof. So that's they're gonna be the Zuli clique now. They've gotten rid of Puyi. All right. So what do we want for our industry? Yeah, we don't really have all that many building slots. I think we just go for concentrated. Yeah, so we're not gonna be able to hold that tile. We won't bother buying one of those right now. The May 15th incident. The Prime Minister has been assassinated. Radical officers connected to the Nichiroke broke into his official residence and shot Prime Minister Inukai. I think the Nichiroke was the Totalist guys, right? Damn socialists. They claim they did so to avenge the death of Katayama-sen and the murder of workers in Niigata. The incident has greatly shocked the nation, and the Admiralty Board, mortified by the incident, has already begun a court-martial and a deep investigation into radical activities within the Navy. I guess we're going to appoint Suzuki Kisaburo to replace Inukai. Okay, so he's going to hurt our construction speed. That kind of sucks. Arthur Horner, selected chairman of the TUC. Okay. The Zuli are going to war with the Shaanxi. These guys in over here. And unfortunately, our experience gain is like a little bit rough here. So now we're getting cavalry leader and infantry leader and hill fighter. So that's nice traits to have. The security debate. The debate in the Imperial Diet has steadily increased in the last few months and is now reaching a terrifying level. Many members fear for their lives, and so progress isn't just a matter of political power or personal pride, but of survival. There is a growing consensus that the current security laws aren't enough to protect democracy and that more are needed. The May 15th incident must not be allowed to happen again. A comprehensive law, an act, must be made. We may actually get our tank designer. Yeah, we will. And so, or we could go with like an industrial company, but I think we might as well, if we're going to use light tanks for our volunteers and stuff like that, we might as well get one of these anyways. And this will also help us for a medium tank, which you're going to want to get eventually. Soft attack and reliability. We can get breakthrough and reliability. I think we're going to try and splash units. Probably want breakthrough. Let's go breakthrough reliability. I think that's what we want. Alright, I think from here, let's get our, let's see, probably we should just go ahead and like, go right, because we're not going to get a tank research bonus, we just go ahead and get mediums, I think. And then probably also want our artillery upgrade. We're going to want the more advanced artillery. Let's start building light tank too. Navy leadership protests Army bias. So the Navy's upset that we're and get this over here. So we have to start doing some Navy focuses, but like I don't know, there's not that many Army focuses like to begin with. So I guess maybe after this we'll come back and like go for expert dock yards, which we probably want. I think our next national focus is actually, you know, of course we're gonna be doing our National Security Act. So we want to get to our economy focuses. Tat and Siam, okay. So we need 25 Army experience to start putting a tank in our unit, which is probably going to be the most impactful unit we can get. Manuel Carles has won in Argentina, that's nice for him. Restorationists and Centralists, so hopefully that'll be us. The Ishinha Restoration faction is a political ideology promoted by radical junior officers, characterized by its anti-capitalism, anti-oligarchism, and anti-parliamentarism. Usually coming from the underprivileged and/or humble backgrounds, many of these officers have experienced poverty from childhood and observed what they consider to be the evil influence of favoritism, leading them to believe that the establishment has hijacked power from the emperor and is leading the nation into the abyss. The restorationist solution was to sweep out the ruling establishment and restore all power back to the emperor, and from there a complete national reform was to be initiated. Against them are the Chushinha, the Central faction, who are close to the central military leadership who supported cooperation with the establishment and the militarization of politics. This will be trouble. Oh no, our stability. White Sun over China, so that's another novel that came out, I guess. And let's continue down our doctrine path. Keep pushing these guys. Like, I think we do want the On King to win this. I mean, apparently we got the training mission. I guess they're aligned with us or something like that. So it would be unfortunate if they were unable to win. Mongol aristocrats take Mongolia. Interesting. Let's maybe stop and build up our planning bonus. Looks like Feng Tian's also sending volunteers. That's nice. And King is pushing back into the left KMT. So that's nice. And Yunnan is now having a civil war. That's nice for Yunnan. Garrison over here, I guess. We'll just keep on training these guys. And you're not Coast Guards. Unfortunately, I can't, I have a toolbar blocking my Theater 1, so I can't actually assign these guys to Theater 1. They're stuck in Coast Guards for whatever reason. Which is a bit annoying, actually. I'll just pull these guys out. And that'll do it. So we're almost done infantry leaders, so that's nice. The Socialist Art Show. Chinese rebellion. See if Helmuth is able to win that. The National Security Act. The notorious Peace Preservation Act was introduced in early 1924 by the Tanaka regime amidst the Red Scare following the Kanto anarchist uprising in September 1923, and the syndicalist assassination attempt on then Crown Prince Hirohito in December of the same year. The act drastically limited civil rights and symbolized the draconian rule of General Tanaka. It was repealed when the regime was brought down by the Constitutional Restoration of 1926, but Prime Minister Suzuki Kisaburo now wants to reintroduce the act, albeit heavily moderated and renamed the National Security Act. He has met strong opposition even within his own cabinet, and public opinion has dropped to a new low. But Suzuki believes its reintroduction is a necessary step in countering the rising tide of syndicalism, and he is not alone in his opinion. A cross-party parliamentary group led by Nakajima Shikuhei of the Rikken Seiukai and Adachi Kenzo of the Minseito have declared the act as the last bulwark of constitutional government and support its passage. The House of Peers and Privy Council are also in favor of the act. We must defend our democracy through any means necessary. The act is forced through. So we will do that. Give us 10 stability, so that's nice. And we'll do we'll have to wait, I guess, wait and see. Let's do our... I don't know, probably we do want to get down to this though, right? I'm not sure if this really matters to like play this game here. But we'll do this naval reform focus. Like I think we have enough time for before this actually no we don't. No we don't. Bad idea. No, we need artillery research. Like I'm not sure if it's going to cause the Navy to rebel or anything like that. I think it's just political power costs. It's going to hurt us. Yeah, war in Arabia. See if we can actually get some planning without them attacking into us for once. Fengtian sends aid to Sichuan. Our allies in the Fengtian government have recently decided to send grain to Sichuan, both to help alleviate the famine there, but also to improve their legitimacy in the eyes of Deng Ziho. The grain will be sent down rivers under the Fengtian flag, which could cause problems. We could pressure the Fengtian government to fly our flag, which would no doubt prevent any hostile armies from attacking the transports due to fears of reprisal. I guess we'll say it's their choice. Like, I guess if we're gonna be centralists, we'll try and be like, sneaky people and try and use their warlords, as opposed to being the samurai. So we'll do that. Try and support our Fengtian buddies. Legation Council votes on providing aid to Sichuan province, so we can vote whether or not to help the Sichuanese out with their famine. So let's abstain. Zupaide, security support in Yunnan. I think he's the right KMT guy. Guess we'll see. Nice, the vote passes. Interesting. So now can we do defend democracy? Not yet. Not yet. Looks like we'll be able to get a cutoff here, so this can be pretty nice. Of course, as soon as we get that, they decide to just walk away and not defend the front line at all, right? We got interwar artillery and our concentrated industry, and here pick up the next industry tech, and then when this finishes, we'll pick up the we'll research our next artillery piece. Do that, and then now we'll do the naval reform focus, and this would be our artillery piece here. Paraguayans have had a militarist revolt. Okay. Actually, we'll cancel this now because we just got that event. The trial of the May 15th incident. The court-martial of the 11 murderers of Prime Minister Inukai began last month. Before the end of their trial, a petition arrived at the court containing over 350,000 signatures in blood from sympathizers around the country, pleading for a lenient sentence. In addition to the petition, the court also received requests from 11 youths in Niigata, asking that they be executed in place of the Navy officers, and sending 11 severed fingers to the court as a gesture of their sincerity. The whole trial was unpopular enough to convince the court to accelerate the process, and although the death sentences were issued just yesterday, the assassins were executed at dawn today. The country is going crazy. And they're a bunch of syndicalist traitors. You can't be executing the Prime Minister. Come on. Defend democracy. There's a nice pocket. Look at that. Oof, that's gonna hurt. Getting a decent amount towards Slow Fighter, actually. You know, if we send this guy to the U.S., we might be able to get, like, we might actually be able to get the cavalry leader trait as well. Like, unfortunately, like, infantry leader is, like, kind of, like, okay to farm, because he's got the trait that gives you double the experience growth, but he's a bit behind on the other traits. I think this will capitulate the guys up north, which would be nice. Oh, jeez. The assassination of Suzuki Kisaburo. Oh no, that's like our prime minister, right? Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. The unthinkable has happened again. The Prime Minister Suzuki and his brother-in-law, Hadoyama Ichiro, were attending a party rally in Kawagoe today. When Hadoyama stood up to deliver his speech, a syndicalist terrorist from the Saitama Youth Volunteer Corps for National Salvation shot Suzuki and Hadoyama in retaliation for the execution of Prime Minister Nukai's assassins. Suzuki's wound has proven fatal. Gomoe ufuku wo inorimasu. Whatever that means. The election of Mizuno Rentaro. The death of Suzuki stunned the Riken Seiyukai, and an emergency convention was called. The bureaucratic Tokonami faction, named after Tokonami Takajiro, 1867 to 1935, chairman of the pro-Tanaka Seiyu Honto during the Tanaka dictatorship and its aftermath, has been crippled by the loss of their leader, leaving the reactionary Nakajima faction to take control of the party. From his new post as Director of General Affairs, Nakajima enjoys decision-making power over the entire party, though he has stopped short of crowning himself chairman, and appointed current Prime Minister and Tokonami-aligned Mizuno Rentaro instead. Finally, some stability in politics. Okay. So, the reactionaries are in charge of the Riken Seiyukai. Okay, that's nice, I guess. So we're reactionary now. And I guess the Mizuno Rentaro is like the same as this guy over here. They're both happy amateurs. Okay. Norway has joined the Internationale. The Emperor and democracy. The government is weak, so in a desperate move, have asked the Emperor to speak. He has gone before Parliament in a rare appearance and fortunately has supported the government. His words carry great weight, and may be enough to keep the government afloat. Do we agree with his support or argue against him? Oh, damn. He supported the government. We're going to say... So, okay, we can't support the government. So in order to do centralism, we'll have to say the Emperor is out of line. And now we can do military centralism, which is unfortunate because usually you want the Emperor to support your choice, right? So that's bad news, Bears. It kind of sucks for your LARP too, right? Because you're supposed to like think the Emperor is like, I don't know, all important or something. But oh well. I really dislike when things come down to RNG rolls like that, how your thing plays out. But it is what it is. It's just going to cost us 10 stability to get onto military centralism. And Brazil has gone liberal. That's a bit dull. Social liberals. I think they've done that like a lot lately. Shanking has capitulated. That's nice. Looks like we got like some decent experience in our cavalry units too. So cavalry units usually aren't the kind of units you want to send as volunteers because they're pretty shy units. But Chinese units are also pretty bad. I'm trying to get cavalry leader. Mountains. There's hills. I think that's what we want. Yeah, so we're close to having hill fighter too, I think. Well, not really close, but we've got a decent amount on it. So I mean, you might as well, right? So Zhejiang click is one over here in the west there. Toko officers accused of torture. The Toko, or Special Higher Police, is a police force specializing in social and thought crimes. The Toko is also notorious for its abusive and brutal methods of interrogation, sometimes even resulting in death. When the National Security Act was passed, the Toko rapidly expanded its size and operation, and the regard for safety of accused criminals declined even further. Today, as a major newspaper has reported that a man has died while in custody, and has accused the Toko of torturing the victim to death. Uh-oh. Not our stability. Oh, Italian democracy has survived for now. It's unfortunate for Mr. Balbo, isn't it? Restorationist coup attempt. Earlier today, Restorationist junior officers from units in the Tokyo area have staged a new coup d'etat. In the early morning, 1,400 officers and enlisted soldiers embarked on missions to seize control of key communications and administrative facilities. The Army Ministry, the General Staff Office, the Metropolitan Police Headquarters, the Prime Minister's official residence, and the Imperial Diet Building were all quickly captured, and the Imperial Palace went under siege. After the Emperor explicitly denounced the Putschist, the Navy mobilized Marine divisions to rescue the palace, and by the evening the coup was crushed. Thank God for the Navy. The Centralists win! The Restorationist coup attempt has been defeated. Branded traitors, the Restorationists, are being purged all over the country. There are calls for the army to assume a greater role in government to help root out both the traitors and the syndicalists. What does Eastern democracy do for us? It's 5% stability. Let's see here. Army Minister Hayashi will assume the premiership. This will get us more party popularity, this will get us stability. Any other way will be paternal autocrat. Let's see it. I'm not sure who these guys are. So head of government, Sinjuro. Old general. And this guy over here, Yoshitsugu. See Prime Minister? Fujie Keisuke. I think, okay, so like, this changes your prime minister out. So do we want this guy? No, we don't. Definitely not. Yes, he will assume the premiership. I'd rather have the old general than negative 4% construction speed. So we can build a land fort super fast. Max factories in a state 5% is pretty nice. Again, because we are building slot limited. And yeah, so this is like a pretty decent government. Army experience isn't bad, and max planning is very strong. Attempted coup in Transamur. News about anti-Kolchak coup in Transamur has recently reached us. It appears that the rebels sought to kill Alexander Kolchak, our de facto puppet leader of the Vladivostok regime, but their best efforts seem to have come to nothing, with the putsch crushed by loyalist guards. Man, coups happening all over right now. Still, Kolchak has made a number of enemies in Transamur, and his vulnerability is becoming increasingly clear. Perhaps we should demand that Kolchak resign and assign a new, more pliant leader for Transamur. Kolchak may be a loose cannon, but he's our loose cannon, right? I mean, we're erect for Kolchak, right? So let's we'll keep Kolchak in charge there. You know, our crazy admiral dictator over there will do that. Okay, I do not want to draw an order with that tool. I want you to attack. Yeah, so our breakthrough is, like, I mean, these divisions are pretty shit. This is a militia, they probably have basic infantry equipment, so we can even attack into them. We have enough breakthrough to block their attacks. So we should have no problem pushing them under that tile. This is a little bit concerning, though. Next national focus. Like probably we want to get our army, or not our army, our economic focuses out of the way first, especially to deal with that land reform and whatnot. So I think we just keep going down this path. Let's try and close this pocket, maybe. Indo-Chinese revolt has succeeded. Failed a coup attempt. Even though the army minister refused to support the coup, he made no effort to stop the plot. The plotters interpreted this as a signal of permission and proceeded. This morning, the coup forces seized the Metropolitan Police Headquarters, the Prime Minister's residence, and the new Imperial Diet building, but failed to occupy the Imperial Palace. To the surprise of the plotters, the Emperor resisted the coup d'etat and issued an Imperial command to suppress the rebels, sealing their fate. The coup forces surrounded without resistance, and key conspirators were quickly caught, while some took their own lives before they could be arrested. Democracy has prevailed. What the fuck is this? Shocking news from Japan. Today, radical elements of the imperial military led by ultra-monarchists and nationalists launched an attempted push against the ailing democratic government in Tokyo. Despite seizing control of key government apparatus and buildings across the capital, the emperor explicitly refused to support the faction, which led to the coup's almost inevitable collapse within hours. A number of senior army officers and their supporters have committed ritual suicide and shame. A key linchpin of democracy has been preserved in East Asia, at least for now. Okay. I thought, like, that's odd. Like, I thought we already had that coup, didn't we? And we're still paternal autocrat. I'm not sure what that event's about. That makes no sense at all. What are we researching right now? We already got our tank designer. We probably want an artillery designer. Let's see here. Soft attack and breakthrough. Yeah, let's get the Osaka Army Arsenal. And let's go into guns for now. I'm not sure where these military factories are coming. Like, I haven't built any military factories because of from occupation. Like, it might be that we're getting compliance growth over here and then we're getting factories from them. Yeah, That's got to be it. I can't think of any reason why, or other reason why I'd be getting military factories. So let's build a couple more civies. And we are going to need like military factories like eventually, right? Maybe another stack of civilians though. Let's go with that for now. Alright, I think I'm going to end this this video here, kind of close to the time limit, and I will pick right up and you know, we'll see where things go. I mean, I'm just really weirded out by that like failed coup attempt. Like I seem like we got that event twice, right? Like was there supposed to be like a second coup, or is that a bug? I'm not sure. But I'll see you guys next time. Lever Freeman signing out.